Game 5 of the 2015 NLDS. Jacob deGrom didn't have his best stuff. Seemed like each inning was going to be his last until he gutted it out, which ended up kind of defining his career until he became a back-to-back Cy Young Award winner. And Steve, last night you said this was the most memorable game that you've covered. And I'm curious to know if you think that Jacob deGrom took that game and kind of went with it after that.
I think that deGrom didn't necessarily need it. I think he's known who he is since the second he stepped foot on a major league field. What I think it did was really elevate him to the guy in the mind of a lot of people in the organization. I remember, this is just 2 years ago now, but it kind of gives you a little bit of insight. I believe it was his third or fourth start of the season against Washington. It was Mickey Callaway's first year. And in the seventh inning, there was 1 out, 2 runners on. The Mets were up, and they pulled deGrom at like 101 pitches, and it imploded. I think that was the game where afterwards he said, hopefully this doesn't put us in a tailspin, and ultimately did. And I remember talking to a couple of people in the organization the next day, and they said, this is Mickey Callaway needing to now learn his personnel, because if you've been around Jacob deGrom long enough, those are the moments he will find a way to get out of it. And I think that's what that game did for deGrom. It elevated him to that status where you can trust him, even if all the numbers, everything is going against him. He has the unique ability to find a way when the team needs it most. That's what I think that game did the most for deGrom.
I think Steve said it great early on in that answer. You said he came up and he had the confidence. He had the ability. You saw it right away. 14, being his teammate, seeing what he was able to do day in and day out. Every time he went out there, winning Rookie of the Year. Then he comes back in 15, and that whole season, he was awesome. He was awesome. I thought he actually got robbed, not necessarily of the Cy Young, but finishing 7th that year was incredible. I thought he should have been at least top 3. The whole year, him and Kershaw were like battling for the ERA title. Until late, maybe deGrom kind of, he didn't really stumble, but gosh, the guy had such a good year that year. He had the confidence, he had the ability. We all saw that he had the potential to be what he was going to be. And I think, that game itself gave him the confidence in those big situations in the playoffs to come through. Absolutely, to get off to a bad start the way he did, allowing 2 runs early in the game, and then fighting those next 2 innings, getting out with two punch outs in the first, 2 punch outs in the second to get out of those innings, and then a double play in the third, and then to go on and pretty much just dominate the 4th, 5th, and 6th, and then Noah came in and everything else the rest of that game. But just an awesome game by him, and yeah, it definitely gave him confidence, but it wasn't necessarily the moment. I think he already knew, and that just solidified it.